I'm Joseph Gillian.
I'm Caleb Melcher,
And we're your main squeeze.
Today's squeeze, the first ever squeeze,
The first squeeze.
we're going to be telling stories, as what the heart of this podcast will probably be, is us telling stories, because there's a lot of great stories that no one's ever heard that people deserve to hear. So that's what we're going to do, is tell stories.
Yeah, I've been excited. I've been thinking about creating a podcast for a while now. Caleb was interested too, so we're getting this going. And yeah, our idea was just stories. There's so many great stories thinking back, people or funny, I just love stories, hearing people's stories or point of views. And that's kind of where we're going with it. And we're running with it.
We'll start by telling stories that are unique to us, with this being the first story or the first podcast that we're going through. Is we'll tell stories unique to us so y'all can get to know us. And then we'll, as the road goes, have people on and tell their stories, or we'll find great stories through history that a lot of people haven't heard. And yeah, here we go. Let's tell stories. I'll go first. Have I ever told you the story of how I scared the crap out of someone?
I have not heard this story.
I don't mean that like figuratively or anything. I mean literally.
You scared someone so bad.
Scared someone so bad.
Themselves?
It's this is a banger.
Oh, here we go.
I think it's been long enough that I can finally tell this story that I've left the past behind a little bit. So I'm not going to be like, no one's going to be beaten down my door. So I was a lifeguard for the YMCA, and this is the winter, my first winter of lifeguarding at an indoor pool. So we had 3 break spots. Or not 3 break spots. We had 3 spots: first chair, second chair, and then a break spot that had some duties. The first chair, I get there at the start of the shift, nothing happens. Second chair, I get there 30 minutes later, nothing happens. Then I get to the break spot, clean up around the pool deck some, and then I have to go check the locker rooms. So I go into the first locker room, nothing there. Then I go down to the family locker room. In the family locker room, there is one guy in the stall, and he's in I walk in there, it just has the horrendous smell of death.
So you know what he's about business.
And he's moaning, making some really uncomfortable noises. So initially I just leave him alone. I leave, don't think anything of it. I'm like, oh, poor guy. I move on. So about 25 minutes later, I finish that break spot, go to the first chair, 30 minutes later, nothing happens. Second chair, 30 minutes later, nothing happens.
So this is like a rotation you guys go through.
It's a rotation. It's a
rotation
rotation we go through so we don't get tired or fall asleep, because as a lifeguard, we have to be paying attention. So it just keeps it interesting.
Gotcha.
So I say the 30 minutes in those spots to give you a time frame of how this is going. It was about an hour for me to get to that family locker room and see the guy in there. After I see him, 25 minutes passes, then an hour on the 2 spots. I go back when I get on the break again and check in that locker room, and the guy is still in there.
So he's been in there for an hour and a half.
About an hour and a half, and that doesn't credit the time
that he was already in there.
That he was already in there. So who knows how long.
Right.
As soon as I see this, I'm like, I have an opportunity here. I've got an opportunity here of the lifetime. Something I should mention is the shoes I was wearing were very quiet. Very, very quiet.
No squeaking across the floor.
No, you couldn't hear me stepping at all, essentially, especially because the air conditioner in there is really loud. And the door to get in was also very quiet. So what do? I decide I'm going to give the most blood-curdling scream I can. I'm already silent in there. No way this guy knows in there. No one else is in there. I give the loudest scream I possibly can. And the guy, I hear him just like smack a hand against the stall door, and he's going, what? Hello? Hello? And he's freaking out. I'm booking it out of there as fast and quietly as I can. So once again, 25 minutes pass. I don't hear anything of it. I go to the first chair, 30 minutes pass, nothing happens. Second chair, 30 minutes pass, nothing happened, and I get on the break spot again. I go back there, and he's still in there.
Oh my goodness.
It's been over 3 hours at this point. So
he's just living in there now.
Yeah, at this point he is. And as soon as I get in there, I'm like, I know it must be done.
I know my duties.
Boom! I kicked the stall door as hard as I possibly can. And I kicked it so hard, the walls are cinder block, and the screws of the frame the stall hangs onto came out of the cinder block. The frame of the stall door was bent, and he gives just the loudest scream I've ever heard, followed by the loudest sound of him making his business. And then I'll never forget what he said. I could tell he was terrified, breathing hard, but he said, "Thank you." The guy said thanks as he was rapidly trying to figure out what's happening. I book it out of there again. Another 25 minutes pass, first chair, second chair, hour later. I go in there and the guy's gone. Guy's gone. So after that break, I get on the chair and my boss walks up to me and he's like, he says, "Hey, some guy came to the desk and said that something was terrorizing the bathroom. Do you know anything of it?" I'm looking at him going, no, I don't know. I don't know anything. I don't know what you're talking about. And then after that, I never heard anything of it again. And the next day, the stall door was fixed, and
just about your thinking,
living it up.
This isn't a story about how you scared a man the living crap out of somebody. This is a story of how you helped somebody. This is a charitable event.
I like to think I'm a public servant in that kind of way.
That's a good story. That's a good introduction of some.
That's a good little terrorizing prank story your story.
I'm gonna give you a story of how I broke my ankle.
Okay.
So little backstory so you can get a little scene. I grew up with 3 brothers, and then it was my dad and my mom in the same house. We grew up in a smaller house in a small town.
Feels.
So
small house, 2 siblings. Yep.
3 siblings.
Yeah, you had 3.
Brothers.
Yeah, no, goodness.
Lots of
one upping me there.
Yeah, yep. Relatable. So siblings,
relatable.
Small house. So all 3 of my brothers weren't there when this was going on, but my dad's standing on the back deck, and he's got a tennis ball and several tennis balls and a tennis racket, and he's just beaming them into the backyard for the dog to run and grab. My mom's mowing the lawn, it's just kind of normal events taking place, wearing out the dogs. My mom's mowing the lawn. I think he was having me tasked with, just cleaning up the backyard a little bit.
General chores.
Yeah. Beginning of summer stuff, just picking up stuff that got strewn about through the winter.
Okay.
So he takes one. This is kind of 2 separate events, but he takes one of the tennis balls and he's like, and when I'm kind of by the back deck, he goes, "Do you think I can hit your mom?" So she's mowing, so she's got no idea what's going on. And she's just like mowing back. It's probably like 25 yards away.
Did he actually whisper that with the lawnmower going off?
Yeah, He was trying to be quiet. It wasn't super whisper, but it was definitely like under his breath.
Okay,
very fearful of.
That's important. That's important to know. Okay.
So he goes, "Do you think I can hit your mom?" So she's mowing, facing the other direction. And he just it's a tennis ball. It was a soft lob. It wasn't like, don't misinterpret this as an abusive type thing. He's just doing it for laughs. And he just arc lobs it. Hitting, going through the trees, several trees in my backyard. So through the branches and just boink, right off the top of the head. She's like, so the dog's chasing after it too, looking for it. It bounces off her head. Dog tears after it. My dad's like, "Oh no." I actually hit her. So he's playing it off so he kind of soft jogs out there with his hands in the air like, "Oh no, I'm so sorry, honey." Verbatim, "I'm so sorry, honey." And she had let go of the lawnmower, so It was a push mower, so it stopped running. So it's like, I'm like, what is going to happen? And she just slowly turns and has the face on, like just the unamused face, like, really? Turns, starts the mower, and keeps going. So we had a decent sized yard. I don't know how many acres or whatever, but it took a decent amount to mow it with the push mower, probably like an hour to mow the whole backyard. So she continues about her business. She's mowing. Now at this point, me and my dad are trying to find something else to amuse us. So I'm picking stuff up, and he's got like 5 or 6 tennis balls at this point. And the dog, we have 2 German Shepherds at the time. So he's just bang. And one dog's bringing it back, and he hits another one. One dog's bringing it back. He could he's got unlimited tennis balls.
All day,
there.
just machine gun style.
So I'm about probably the same distance my mom was, just off in a different direction. And he just beams one straight at me. Tennis racket, tennis ball, like zoom, right by me. So I'm like, oh no. So we start playing this game. It's, very, unspoken, but he's just trying to hit me with the tennis ball. I'm running back and forth, trying to dodge him. He's never going to run out of tennis balls because he's got already a couple. The dogs are running him back super fast. And somehow, I don't know if one like hit the tree and bounced towards me, but I end up with one. So I end up with one of the tennis balls. And I'm like, all right, so I'm going to try and throw this at him so it's kind of like a return fire situation. So I lob one. He jumps out of the way. He beams me one. I end up with, a couple minutes goes by. I end up with one again. So we had this like 10-foot picnic table off to the side. So I'm like, this is going to be the sweetest thing you've ever seen in your entire life. I'm going to run while dodging other tennis balls. I'm going to hop up on, run the length of the picnic table, jump off the picnic table, spin a 360 and throw like Call of Duty 360 no scope style. Like this is my plan that's unfolding in my head while I'm dodging other ones. So I start running, just picturing myself how cool it's going to look when I jump off 360 and throw the ball at him and hit him.
Was your head just completely swelled at this point?
Yeah.
Because you felt like you already did it?
Yeah, I'm so excited. Like, I'm just so proud of myself already. So I'm running and I slip, I start sliding. We had a bunch of, this beech tree in my backyard. And this year in particular, I had just dumped a bunch of them. So there's all these beech nuts in the backyard, and I slid on them, and my ankle goes into this little divot. At first, I thought I just rolled it, so I took three more steps.
You took 3 steps on it broken.
So I took 3 steps on it, and it's broken. I didn't know it was broken. I thought I had just rolled it. So I never even made it to the picnic table to jump off. It wasn't like I jumped off the picnic table, then slid, or jumped off and landed on the ankle funny. I never even had lift off onto the picnic table. I slid and broke my ankle. Just running with a tennis ball. My dad was like, it's not, later, it's not broken. It was funny. I didn't end up going to the hospital for 2 days on it. It was broken. So, oh my God. Yeah, I grew up 3 brothers. I've been to the ER. I've got frequent flyer pass at our hospital back
Frequent
home.
Flyer miles to the ER.
Yeah.
Well, you've already given us $100,000. You can have this one for free.
Yep. Redeemable at the cafeteria there. Oh, yep.
Fun story. Sounded like it hurt a little.
Hurt a little bit. So,
all right. One more from me. I'm going to tell you a story about a good friend of mine. I'm not going to say any names because he's still in a very compromising position. This is the story of the Asbury brick thief. I've probably mentioned this.
You've brought it up a little bit. I probably haven't heard it in detail, but
the story of the Asbury brick thief. Very good friend of mine. I'm not going to say any names because he's still there and he could get in trouble. So a good friend of mine. he's walking to the cafeteria. We call it the caf. I'll say that because it's what I'm used to. As he's walking in front of the caf, he sees some line of bricks that are in the ground as decorative next to the cement. He looks at these bricks, notices just about all of them are loose. So he looks at a brick and he says, you know what, I could swipe that. I could swipe that brick. I'm going to swipe a brick. So he just takes the brick out and puts it in his bag and goes about his day. Doesn't think anything of it. A few days later, that hole is still in the ground, but eventually there's another brick in there. So he's like, I could take that.
I'm going to take that one.
He's like, I could take it because they didn't properly mortar the brick down. All they did was put the brick in the hole and put some dirt in the cracks. He's like, is this a game at this point? I could take the brick. So he takes the brick. Once again, there's a hole in there. He does this for several months. A long time he does this.
Every couple of days, just taking the brick.
It gets to the point to where security is getting involved and they're looking at the hole just thinking, how in the world this brick's disappearing, completely oblivious. So he's walking by, sees security looking at it with the physical plant who puts the bricks in, and he looks at the tree. My friend, he looks at the tree next to these line of bricks and he's like, I could get more creative about where I put these bricks. So he takes out a brick and puts it in a tree that's right next to where he's taking the bricks. So a few days later, security notices it and they're looking at this tree and looking at the hole and looking at the tree and looking at the hole. And they're completely just in awe of how this brick is getting in this spot. They don't know how. It's amazing. They're going up to this tree, which basically has this knee-high circular bench that goes around it, and then there's mulch inside of that little circle spot. They were looking at the mulch and being like, "Well, there's no footprints. How in the world did it get in the tree? There's no way anyone could get it there." It's easy. All you have to do is stand on the bench and put it in the tree. But they're just like
there's no ladder. How'd they get up?
They're just trying to give the students the benefit of the doubt that there's not someone causing practical jokes on them like this. So it gets to the point to where one of the students that was working for Fizzplant knows my friend who is taking the bricks, and he comes up to him and he's like, "Hey, are you still swiping those bricks?" And he's like, "Yeah, what of it?" And he says, "Dude, they're considering putting up a camera because it's so far been over $1,000 of bricks." Because apparently they were, whenever one brick was swiped, they were ordering one brick, paying for shipping, when all they had to do was just go to this dump yard because they recently tore down a building. They had a lot of bricks that they could have put there, but no, they're ordering one brick at a time. And
Amazon and one brick. It's here. Go ahead and slide it in the hole.
Amazon's brick and mortar. So it got to the point, like, I could walk in his dorm room, he would open his closet, and I would see this pile of bricks, and that wasn't even all of them. So yeah, that's once he caught wind that they were considering putting up a camera, he quit, didn't do it anymore, and then that led to another story of them taking a chunk of cement and hiding it, and then that actually got replaced and properly sealed. So, they made good change.
They're learning.
Yeah, that's a friend stealing bricks. Stole over $1,000 worth of bricks. Last story.
All right, my second story. I'm going to tell you about, this is kind of me coming clean on something. I just got to get this off my chest.
Yeah.
Some people already know about this. This one, if this was a title, it would just be titled Stop Sign. So
Stop sign.
My fiance, Shannon, she graduated from Asbury University
Yay.
in June of 2017. Is that when she graduated?
In June. I think it'd be May.
May?
Probably.
Yeah, May.
Yeah, it was 2017.
2017. I forget. I'm from New York, where our school semesters are a little different.
Weird.
So May 2017, she gets her undergrad in whatever she did, psychology stuff. So me and her dad are discussing how we're going to go up there, you know, because it's about an hour drive from here, hour 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's about an hour and a half.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter.
hour and a half drive. So we're talking, we're both going to end up going to the graduation, watch her walk, you know, all that stuff. So we're discussing times. We decide we're going to ride together, and I can drive, so I'll drive his car. So we're driving, you know, just going the 64 East all the way pretty much out there.
Yep.
And so we go, my GPS takes me like this kind of back way where it's really twisty, windy. My side of the story is, so I'm coming up on this turn where I have to take a left turn onto this road. And there's like a car behind me that's really wanting to go fast. He's kind of not tailgating, but getting closer. I'm trying not to ruin his velocity. He's got places to go. I've got places to go. So a car coming the other way goes, and I'm looking in the rear view mirror, making sure I don't get rear-ended because I got to slow down significantly to turn left. So I'm like looking at the GPS. I'm also looking at the truck behind me trying to go. So I turn left, and I'm looking for my rear view mirror back up, and there's just a stop sign in front of me. Driving my future father-in-law's car, I completely ran over this stop sign. Like, just, I mean, if the stop sign was really cemented in there, I would have just split the car in half. Like, no slowing down. I look up right as it's making impact with the car, but the car just totally just pushes it straight over, and we just totally go past it, like right over it. And he goes, oh, like he makes a sound as we hit, like braces for impact as we go over. I'm just like, oh my gosh, is this happening? Like, am I fine? Like, this guy's gonna think I'm stupid. I don't know how to drive. I'm in his vehicle. So he goes, you know, he tells me to just put the flashers on and pull over because there's a car coming the other way that just watched us run over this stop sign. And so the car, you know, he waits till he gets out, like car goes away, and I just go out there and like bend the stop sign back up, get in my car, get in his car, and he's like, all right, get out of here.
He's just like, bail,
yeah,
bail out.
Bail, go. So I'm like, all right. So I put in, we get going. And he's like, we need to get a couple miles behind us. And then, you know, we need to make sure the car's okay. So I pull over a couple miles down the road. Look, all the damage appears to be cosmetic. Which still, I'm like, cosmetic damage. This is my future father-in-law's
This is expensive.
car. I'm like, oh no. He's going to say I can't marry his daughter. Don't actually think that. But it's just very kind of stressful type thing. I'm like, I'm an idiot. I ran over a stop sign. It's not like I can say, it ran out in front of me. It came out of nowhere. Like, none of those apply. Now, granted, the coming the other way.
I thought that sign just didn't apply to me this time.
Yeah, I thought stop meant run me over. The stop sign was for the other, like for the road I was turning onto. And I had taken the turn just kind of like I wasn't trying to fully slow down or stop in the direction I was coming from. So the turn I was taking, the stop was in the middle of the road instead of off to the side of the two roads. Mm-hmm. Which, why would you put a stop sign in the road. But there's like a ditch on either side, and it was a 3-lane road. So there was a turn to like a left turning lane and a right turning lane. They put the stop sign to the left of the left turning lane.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where I ran over the stop sign.
That's a really funny
Because,
story.
I'm not like, I know how to turn onto a road. I'm not looking for stop signs in the middle of the road. So that's the story of the infamous stop sign that I will never live down.
Stop and go.
He's gotten rid of that car since then, and I still hear it. Like, I've driven it a couple times since then because he's got an SUV now, and I've needed the SUV to transport some stuff. And he's like, you can take my car, just don't hit any stop signs. And it's like, just always, like, if I drive over somewhere, he'll be like, you see any stop signs? You see any stop signs along the way? It's like, yeah.
You're never gonna get to live it
It's
down now.
25 years from now, when me and Shannon are still married, if we make the drive out to his house, it's still gonna be a joke.
Yeah, you earned that one. Does he call you stop sign now?
That is not a nickname, and I hope that does not stick. Stop sign. Oh goodness.
That's a good one. Well,
Let's wrapping up. That's 2 stories each from us. Who knows if that's kind of tailored around funny and pranksters.
whatever. We may have stories that are serious or are heartbreaking or awesome or weird or whatever. Just we'll have people come tell stories and that's what
And
we're gonna do.
if you guys got ideas for us of story, you can just ask us a question. I'm sure we've got some kind of crazy story attached to it. If you can ask if we've broken a bone, if we've been to the moon, and we'll just tell a story based on it.
I've only been to the moon in my dreams.
I've never been to the moon.
Well, I just dream more and then
Yeah.
I go to the moon.
There's a story there. When I was younger, I used to be able to vivid dream.
Yeah,
I'd be able to
I
control.
don't dream much anymore.
Yep.
All right, well, time to end it.
All right.
Thanks for listening. I'm Caleb Melcher.
I'm Joseph Gillian.
And we're your main squeeze.